Hello, everyone. Okay, so today we're gonna do for the red lentil soup at the community kitchen, and it's gonna be a simple recipe, something that you can make. It's really easy to do, not too many ingredients. It's pretty cheap. To also to buy all the things you need for it, and the most important thing is it's very nutritious and very good for you. So I started already with sautéing. I have here the first six ingredients on the recipe, which are I melted the butter or margarine if you want with the oil, and we have like I always tell you, the meriqua, which is the base for every soup, almost every soup, which is the carrots, the celery, and the onions. So I have those here: carrots, celery, onions, and some garlic sautéing. And I put, if you can see, we have a little bit of thyme, or you could put oregano too, to start the soup with. So we started it, like we said, for to just to save some time. And once it's at this stage where it looks like soft and sautéed, and you could smell the vegetables, you'll be ready to add the rest of the ingredients. So this will take you about, I would say, 10 minutes max on medium heat to get to this stage of cooking. So after we've done this, we're gonna start adding the rest of the ingredients. We have the red lentils. I'm sure you all seen it or heard it or tried it. So this is actually lentils that kind of peel. They take the shell out. So we're just using the just mix it a little bit so it will soak some of the flavors. Give it a minute. This recipe can be easily made vegan, vegetarian, or for people who would like to add some meat, some protein to it, can add chicken. Is a good addition to it. But if you replace the margarine with oil, would be fine, and you also don't have to use the chicken stock. You could use the vegetable stock if you're a vegan or vegetarian. So it can be easily changed and altered. You could use. I know there's something now like vegan margarine that's also really good for cooking. You add it to the oil and you melt it together, because oil has a high heat resistance, so it won't burn as on you when you're sautéing. So it's good to, when you have butter on your cooking margarine, add a little bit of oil, so you won't burn it while you're cooking it. So now it's nice and incorporated. So we're gonna add the tomato, the crushed tomato. Crushed tomato gives it a very nice color, and it's also gives it some tanginess and some more flavor to the soup. So we'll mix that in well. Here we have the seasonings. I have some salt here. I have some cumin, black pepper, and a couple of bay leaves. Like I said, I already added the thyme or oregano before, so it will infuse a little bit more into because it's dry. So I added it earlier, so it will have more time to get the flavors out of it. So those are our seasonings. And the last thing would be the broth. Like I said, if you don't want to use chicken, you can definitely use the vegetable stock. And what's good also about the soup is how fast it comes, together, and how fast it cooks. So within, like, now, once it boils, like I would say 15 to 20 minutes, you would see that it will be ready. The only thing that you have to mix it occasionally. Don't let it settle too much. Just every few minutes, just give it a little stir like this, so it won't stick to the bottom of the pan. That's the only thing. Nothing complicated or. You could add, like I said, the chicken, but that has to be cooked already, chopped or shredded or whatever way you like it, and add it towards the end of the cooking. Once the lentils are cooked and everything is good, the last thing you do is you add the chicken, and then you garnish it. If you like Parmesan cheese, would go well with it. A sprinkle of fresh garlic, parsley, or any of your favorite herbs that you really like. You could just add whatever you like to it, make it your own recipe in that way. So we'll wait for it to boil. We cover it. We put it into lower heat and let it simmer. Like I said, 15-20 minutes max. Should be ready. If you find it too thick, you just thin it with water or more of the broth that you used originally, and it should be good. Some like it with a squeeze of a fresh lemon on it, with a toast with garlic bread. It's really good. I hope you try it and you like it. And I will show you in a minute the end result once it's cooked and it's ready to be served. Thank you. See you there.
Do you want to show it in the pot? Yeah. Hi, everyone. So this is Sarah here. I'm going to be talking in a minute about the nutrition in the recipe and about why plant proteins are important. But right now we're just going to get some of the soup that Zahide already made. Beforehand, we're just going to show it to you there as well. So just 1 minute. Do you want to show the pot?
So this is how it should be looking. Like I said, if you don't like it that thick, you can thin it out. But this is an okay consistency.
It smells amazing.
It's really good. I hope you try it. Like I said, it's very affordable to make, easy, fast, nutritious, and you could garnish it with a little bit of, like I said, Parmesan or a little bit of any kind of fresh herb, some toast. And if you're adding chicken, you could also chop a few pieces of chicken, put it on top, and it will be. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching and thank you for joining us. Okay, see you soon.
Okay, thank you, Zahide. So now I'm just gonna run over here and we're just gonna talk quickly about the nutrition in it. As you can probably tell if you know the center, we're just outside the kitchen now. Okay, so hopefully, now that I'm more than 2 meters away, I'm gonna take my mask off. Hopefully everyone got a copy of the recipe from the email from June, but we have it here too. I'm sorry if it's backwards because of the camera, but we have the full recipe here. And if you didn't get it, then you can always email June. I'll have her email address in the description. But we have the full recipe, and I created the little nutrition breakdown here too. So that tells you exactly what's in it. So you can see this recipe is 4 to 6 servings. So if you're having it for lunch, you may want to make it into 6 servings to have a little bit less. Whereas if you're making it more of a dinner, then you can have more. So this is based on 1/4 of the serving if you're having 4 servings from that one pot. And then you get about 450 calories of energy. You get just over 20 grams of protein, which is great, especially this is the version without the chicken. So if you added chicken, you'd have a lot more protein than that. And then there's a few other things too. There's lots of vitamins and minerals because we're using a bunch of vegetables in the mirepoix that Zahide was talking about. That's our onions, celery, and carrots. So that's full of nutrition, as well as the lentils themselves and the tomatoes too. So there's lots there. There's also over 11 grams of fiber, which of course is really important for our gut health, as many of us know, but it's also really helpful for reducing blood cholesterol levels as well. As your body digests the fiber, it can take some of the cholesterol with it, which is a really amazing process that our bodies do. So now getting into a little bit more of the nutrition. On the second part of the handout is about plant proteins in general. So if you've been watching a number of our videos, or if you've been coming to some of our Go Meat sessions, then you'll probably know some of this already. Because in our session when we were talking about environmental eating, I was talking a lot about how plant proteins are great for the environment as well as for our health. So because animal proteins, so whether that's chicken or fish or beef or pork, even things like eggs and dairy, they are much more intense on the environment. They produce more greenhouse gases, and they also use more water. So whereas plant proteins, when you're getting the same amount of protein for your body, it actually has a lesser impact on the environment, which is really great. So in this recipe, we featured lentils, but there's also lots of other plant proteins, whether that's beans like kidney beans, black beans, pinto, any bean that you like, or chickpeas, and soy as well. So soybeans and things that are made from soy, including tofu and tempeh, they're all plant proteins. And then nuts and seeds also. So whether that's like walnuts or almonds, peanut butter, or sunflower seeds, any of those things, they are all plant proteins. So they are plant sources of protein. So what this means and why it matters is that, first off, the environmental part that I was just talking about, but also that when you're getting your protein, you're always getting fiber too, from plant proteins. If you're having, say, a steak, you're going to get lots and lots of protein. You're going to get a ton of iron, which is great, and it's a great way to get some of those nutrients, but you're not going to get any fiber. And as I was saying about cholesterol, fiber actually reduces cholesterol. Whereas when you're having meat, it can increase it, especially because there's often, if you're having like a fattier meat, there's going to be a lot of the saturated fats that we've talked about before too, that will increase your cholesterol. So it's kind of the fact that we have less of that, of the saturated fat that we want to avoid, and there's more of the fiber that we want to have more of. So it's kind of a win-win for plant proteins. And then the other part, of course, too, is that meat is quite expensive. And sometimes it can be hard to be able to afford to have meat all the time. And you don't need to, because of all the things that I just talked about. It's better for the environment and it's better for your health. So you don't need to have meat every day. It can still be a great way to get all the nutrition that you need, to do things like meatless Mondays, or just to have every once in a while a meal that doesn't have any animal products in it at all. But it doesn't have to be a big switch. It's just an every once in a while kind of thing. If you want to incorporate that a little bit more often, you can use a recipe like this one from Zahide if you don't include the chicken and you use vegetable broth. And if you use oil instead of butter, then it's actually a fully vegan recipe. And it's super delicious and super easy to make. So it's not intimidating at all. And it's quite delicious. So it's a great option as well. Okay, so this is our community kitchen. Some more notes for the community on the topic as well. So you might have noticed that when Zahide was putting the lentils in, they were from dried. So that's another thing to note, is that you can use dried or you can use canned. With this recipe, using dried makes a lot of sense because, as Zahide said, red lentils have that shell part taken off. So they actually don't need to be soaked. Whereas green lentils or brown lentils, they have to be soaked because they're much harder and they have that shell still. So that's another thing to think about with the dried. And if you are soaking any lentils or beans or any of those kinds of things, it's really important to throw away the water. So don't like put that in thinking it's going to add more flavor, because some of the carbohydrates that are dissolving in the water as the lentils or beans are rehydrating, they're actually the ones that tend to give us gas, which is often what beans are known for. So a really good tip is that if you are rehydrating beans with in water, then if you throw away that water, then it's gonna be a lot easier to digest. And if you are using canned, then it's also important to rinse them with water and then to, once again, to throw away that water. And the reason for that is the same, where you're gonna have less of those extra carbohydrates that often don't ferment, that will ferment unpleasantly in your body. And it can cause a lot of discomfort. So you're getting rid of those, but you're also getting rid of the excess sodium that sometimes the beans or lentils are packed in. So this is it's a really important thing to remember, just to make that even more enjoyable and to make it a little bit healthier. Especially, you might notice in the recipe, it is kind of high in sodium. So making sure that you're rinsing is another good part, especially if you're using a broth that's full sodium. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. Okay, so with that all said, I'm gonna take you guys out to the community garden, and we're gonna see where, some of these things are grown, and we're gonna talk to Micheal and Lenny, who work there, about some of the things in the garden, especially since we are coming, unfortunately, to the end of summer. So seeing some things that we're growing out there. So it's gonna be a little bit of transit time here, and I'm gonna put my mask back on. Okay. 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna go this way. I hope everyone is doing well. With, of course, the center is closed. The only people here are employees right now, but I know soon we'll be inviting some people back into the center, since we are in stage 3 now, as long as, of course, everything stays good, which of course I hope it does. Okay. Wait for 1 minute here. Okay, I apologize, but there's still people in the community garden, so I'm just gonna wait for 1 minute. Actually, let's go find Abby. Okay. I apologize. 1 second.
Are people watching you?
There's one.
Is it Sarah?
Okay, we're back outside now. I think they're still doing a tour.
Yes, they're still doing a tour, but maybe you can tour them in the garden.
Yeah?
Yeah, give them a tour of the garden.
And then we'll talk to them.
And then we'll
Okay.
talk to Michael. I'm gonna call Gabby to come out.
Okay, thank you. Okay, apologies, everyone. We're just gonna, and I hope that you guys are able to come back to the center soon and see everything. I'm hoping my internet reaches out here. Okay. So we have the beets here. Lots of, there's corn and potatoes. Yeah. Much better. We have all the squashes here. I think this is actually zucchini, a golden zucchini. And over here, we've got a ton of bees, which are super important, of course, for so many different things. As they're our pollinators, they're vital to agriculture and us being able to produce really any food here in Canada. So you can see them here. Now I'm getting scared. I don't want to get stung. And we've got beets here. Thanks. Yeah, we're just going very fast today, a bit ahead of schedule for the community garden. Hi.
The corn hasn't grown yet. Oh, wait. Wait, it's growing. I got Hershey. I got Hershey on my way here. We bought rainbow cake. Hershey. It's rainbow flavor.
You want real words?
Yeah. It works. Yeah, I
So we'll just one more minute.
Yeah, because we have another.
Okay, success.
Ready?
Is it?
Yes.
So now I'm out here with Gabby. Apologies for the wait here, guys. We